Ooh, yeah, a lot of flaking there. All right, let's jump into it. Hey guys, Dr. Daniel Sugai, board certified dermatologist. Welcome to my channel. We're gonna be talking about dry, itchy, flaky scalp. Now I've talked about this in the past, and in that video I just saw, they mentioned scalp psoriasis, but they're all in the same spectrum, dandruff to scalp psoriasis. We're gonna jump into it in this video. Now we talked about this topic before, but I have updated shampoos that came out because they're really addressing that yeast that causes dandruff. So we have malassezia yeast that we pick up as babies and it stays with us. It lives on our skin, on our scalp, and there's no way to really eradicate it. It's like a commensal bacteria on our skin that makes up our skin's microbiome, but this is a yeast that lives on our scalp. It does not live in harmony all the time though. So it does take advantage when our immune system's down, if we're on immunosuppressive medications, we are on chemotherapy. Even with Parkinson's disease, you might see more seborrheic dermatitis, which is related to this yeast malassezia. There are different types of malassezia, like malassezia globosa, malassezia furfur. Kind of funny names, but they're different types. And the same type of malassezia that causes dandruff can come down to the body and cause seborrheic dermatitis on the body, but also a thing called tinea versicolor, which I've done a video on, where you can cause white or dark spots on the skin, whether you're fair skin or skin of color. In the summer and humid weather, you can get these yeast patches where you get those patches that are mildly scaly, not really itchy all the time, but it definitely happens on the upper arms and upper torso, chest and back. In Hawaii, say my home state of Hawaii, very common. We're all very familiar with that condition, tinea versicolor. So how do we treat that yeast that comes down our body, our upper arms and our scalp? How do we deal with it? Because it can be quite annoying. And when I was in residency training at Harvard, the way they taught it was that dandruff to psoriasis, they're on the same spectrum. Now, dandruff is just flaking of the scalp. You get those flakes that you can see in your scalp, but also coming down into dark clothing. There's also seborrheic dermatitis where you get itching, inflammation with the flaking. And then you can get SIBO psoriasis where you get thicker flaking, where it's really hard to see the scalp. The scale is very thick and hyperkeratotic. And then psoriasis, where you're gonna get it not just on your scalp, but also can affect your elbows, your knees, your belly button, your buttocks, your shins, and also can affect your nails and cause divots in your nails. Also, lifting of your nails called onycholysis. And psoriasis is actually systemic inflammation where you can get arthritis and also inflammation of the heart, the coronary arteries, and it increases your risk of heart disease. You know, we'll be talking about shampoos that you can consider over the counter that are affordable and different ways to go after this yeast malassezia. If I were to scrape the yeast, whether from the scalp or from the skin of tinea versicolor, under the microscope, it has this spaghetti and meatballs look. So this is truly a yeast and not a bacteria. And it's not typically contagious between people unless you have like ringworm of the scalp, which you can see quite commonly in children, in the pediatric population, especially in African-American children, you'll see ringworm of the scalp. That's a different fungus from what we're seeing that's causing dry, itchy scalp, flaking, seborrheic dermatitis, and the worsening of scalp psoriasis. Scalp psoriasis actually is not truly rooted in a yeast process, but the yeast doesn't help. How do we go after it? Number one, zinc pyrithione. Zinc pyrithione is traditionally in Head and Shoulders, and you can see here in the active ingredient list here, it says pyrithione zinc. Pyrithione zinc or zinc pyrithione really goes after that yeast. You have to use a shampoo every day for it to work. And if you are having dry, itchy scalp, a lot of people make the mistake by decreasing the frequency of washing your hair, when actually you should be increasing the frequency to wash out that yeast. If you don't wash your hair, your scalp, that yeast is really gonna build up and it's gonna have these thick, scaly plaques in the scalp that are holding on your hair shafts and can even lead to hair loss. Recently, CeraVe has come out with their own anti-dandruff line. We have the 2-in-1 anti-dandruff shampoo. We have shampoo and conditioner. If you just want the shampoo, you got this guy, and they both have 1% pyrithione zinc. What I like about CeraVe is that it's free of fragrance if you are sensitive to fragrance, and also they have their 3 essential ceramides, hyaluronic acid to hydrate the scalp, but also niacinamide, which is soothing, helps repair the skin barrier, and also helps regulate sebum production, and that's why we like it in our skincare, but I love seeing it in our shampoos as well. Check that one out. That's a new update. That's brand new there. Next would be looking at another ingredient called selenium sulfide. Selenium sulfide is in Selsun Blue traditionally. We've talked about that. Selsun Blue has been my go-to when I had, tinea versicolor in Hawaii. I would wash my body with that once a day for 2 to 4 weeks, and that would help. Sometimes you have to do 6 weeks to help normalize the pigment. But recently, we've gotten a new selenium sulfide option. Vichy has come out with their American version of Dercos. So you have niacinamide, selenium sulfide, and glycerin, which are awesome. So you can see active ingredients, selenium sulfide, micronized selenium sulfide to go after that yeast. So that's another option. And then when I go to Europe, I love their Dercos there because not only do they have selenium sulfide in their Dercos, but they have salicylic acid, which I love salicylic acid in my shampoos because that helps exfoliate the scalp gently and help with that flaking without you scratching and scraping. Because if you scratch, especially for psoriasis, there's a thing called Kevner phenomenon, and it will worsen your psoriasis if you're traumatizing the scalp with your nails, if you have a brush that you're really going at your psoriasis, if you have a back scratcher and you're going after your psoriatic plaques, that will make it spread. So I like to have a gentle exfoliant like salicylic acid in your shampoo. Okay, quick correction. The Vichy Dercos Selenium Sulfide Anti-Dandruff Shampoo actually does have salicylic acid in the US version. On the website, they only highlight niacinamide, glycerin, and their micronized selenium sulfide. But further down on the ingredient list, they do mention salicylic acid. I don't know what percentage, so maybe it's not a lot, it's not very significant, but I just wanted to call that out. After trying this out for several weeks, I actually like this. I'm on my second bottle, and yeah, I guess it does remind me of the European version. So good job Vichy USA for having salicylic acid. If you want salicylic acid in a shampoo, Neutrogena T-Sal has always been my go-to for my patients. If they have flaky scalp, go for T-Sal. If you have itchy scalp, I usually recommend the coal tar extract form tea gel by Neutrogena. But it's been so hard to get those online. I don't know if it's been a shortage or they're trying to phase it out, but that has always been a good anti-inflammatory, soothing shampoo. It smells terribly and sometimes can stain your clothes, so you have to wash it out well, but it's a great option to supplement your topical prescription medications from your dermatologist. I think Amazon came out with their own tea gel dupe, maybe even a tea salad dupe, and so look for those ingredients, coal tar extract in the shampoo or salicylic acid. Neutrogena, please keep making that shampoo because my patients from over 10 years ago have benefited from those. Next would be looking at Ketoconazole shampoos. So I prescribe Ketoconazole 2% shampoo in my clinic, and you can use this as a shampoo for your scalp. You can use it as a face wash for your face if you have flakiness on your eyebrows or on the nose. That's all that seborrheic dermatitis yeast coming down to those areas. It can affect the facial hair here, and then also you can use it as a body wash if you're getting tinea versicolor or seborrheic dermatitis in your body. But they also have an over-the-counter form called Nizoral. It's Ketoconazole 1%. So not as strong as the stuff I prescribe, but something you can have access to that will work on the flaking as well. So you're going at it, the yeast, in different ways. You can have various shampoos. I know a lot of times I say choose one vitamin C serum or choose one retinol. In this case, you can have multiple ways to go after your dry, flaky scalp. Nizoral or Ketoconazole is nice because it also works on androgenetic alopecia, where men and women have this increase in androgens that are affecting our scalp, miniaturizing our hair follicles and leading to hair thinning, hair loss. So for men, it manifests as a receding hairline, especially at the peaks here, and decrease in hair in the vertex or crown of the scalp. Women, it's the widening of their part and also decreased density of their hair. Ketoconazole can actually help with that. So using that every other day, massaging it into the scalp skin, letting it sit there for 3 to 5 minutes and then rinsing it out is great for not just flaking and itch, but also hair thinning. So that's a nice little hack there. Really important to talk about this, and I don't want everyone going at scratching at their scalp or putting olive oil on their scalp, because olive oil will definitely be fertilizer for that malassezia yeast, make it worsen and grow and proliferate. So don't do that, okay? And then also don't go to sleep with wet hair, because laying on your pillow with wet hair, you'll really proliferate that yeast, okay? And this can actually worsen in summer or winter. My scalp tends to get more itchy and flaky in the winter time versus summer, but some people, when they're getting a little bit more greasy, they're getting more sweaty, and with the humidity in the summer, they might have a worsening of their scalp condition. So everyone's different, and that's why it's important to talk about these shampoos all year round. Okay, please hit the like button. Please comment down below if you've tried any of these shampoos, if they work for you. And always, again, see your dermatologist if your scalp condition is not improving with the shampoos, because a lot of times we have to prescribe things for seborrheic dermatitis and definitely for psoriasis, okay? Thanks for subscribing and hitting that bell notification for long form videos every Saturday. Take care, guys, and peace.